Mic check. Thank you. Quick reminder, don't sub today. Do not subscribe today at all because September is going to start, I believe, tomorrow.
But tomorrow's not September.
I know, but they're going to start it tomorrow, I guess. But don't sub today. Save it for Monday. Or Tuesday. Sorry, no Labor Day stream. I didn't even think about that Monday. I knew we weren't doing a podcast on Monday, but I didn't think about the stream.
We're going to go to the lake.
Are we?
Mm-hmm.
What lake?
I don't know actually what it's called. It's a lake here, Washington.
In a van?
No, it's a river.
Down by the river?
Where's our river around here? Far, right?
What?
Where's the closest river?
The
It's
Duwamish.
not right here. You're pointing at it like it's in our yard.
The Duwamish literally is what separates us from West Seattle.
It's not a river.
Carla Marie. A river, that's the mouth of the sound goes into the mouth of the Duwamish. Or Duwamish. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly.
I'm looking. That separates us from West Seattle is the Puget Sound,
But then
first of all.
go down.
Down or up?
It would be down.
South.
Yes, south.
What do we got here? What body of water do we got here?
Any Seattle people in the chat feel like helping me out here? Mellow FM, good to see you. I see Mergen in there, Lenny from Queens, Scotty, DD2, good evening. Cindy, Jess, Lisi, Maria in Omaha.
Okay, so
Shout
the
out to
Duwamish
Jen and
River.
Lisa and Z.
Oh, West Seattle's over there.
Yeah.
I was looking at the wrong spot. So
DJ Synth with the comment of the evening. He said, Anthony is right. Like
you should
usual.
be careful saying these things within my eyesight. I might throw something at his head.
Anthony is correct, even though he cannot pronounce Duwamish. I don't know how I'm supposed to say it. Duwamish? Duwamish?
It's all the way over
Duwamish?
there. Look at that.
Do I say it really fast?
Well, it's way cleaner than the Passaic River I grew up on, that's for sure. So you take boats on this river? I never saw it before.
Maybe you never saw it before. You've gone over bridges.
Oh, it's the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. Go over that one?
No, but when you drive down to the airport, Carla Marie, you know how there's some bridges you got to go over
no rivers.
on 99?
There's no rivers.
You're going over the Duwamish.
I never saw it.
Oh my God. Duwamish.
Wait, I don't think that's true. Let's look at that. SeaTac is over there.
All right, let's go live on Instagram. Let's see if this works.
What? Joanna, listen up. These night shows are a thing this week and maybe next week. Oh, I have a question we can add to the list. It's not working.
No, it's not?
It says live. But I am clicking on our Instagram and it ain't there. So that's weird, right?
Yeah,
Are you on there? Or are you just scrolling?
I'm trying.
10, 9, 8,
Yeah, not there.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, nope, good evening, and welcome to the Carla Marie and Anthony Show. I'm still getting used to this whole evening stream thing that we have now done 3 days this week.
Yeah?
How have you liked the evening stream so far, Carla Marie?
I like the evening stream. I don't like how my days have been going.
Why not?
There's no, like, sketch to them.
There was no real sketch before.
Yeah, I know. But
So this is no
But
different.
if I do this forever, there are things that I can't do. I can't go to. I can't go to movie screenings. There's already an event next week. I got to change my time around. This is when the things are happening.
That's true. I don't know. I don't know what I like more. I think I do like our energy at night.
I like waking up and doing it because if
Yeah.
I don't have something to do at a certain time of day, then I'm going to lollygag around.
But you still do have something to do at a certain time of day.
Lollygag.
Oh, that was one of the words we talked about last stream, yeah.
Yes. And no, I mean, like, if I don't have something to do in the morning, like, if my first physical thing I have to do is 5 p.m.,
Okay, I see what you're saying, but there are other things you could be doing throughout the day.
but if it's not a time thing that I have to be.
So you're
butts in
saying you have no
seats,
self-control
no self-control.
and discipline. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. We tried to stream on Instagram today as well. It's just not working for some reason. There are some new tools that we're playing around with that don't seem to be working properly.
It
But-
says that we are,
Yeah, it says we
but
are.
we ain't.
I'll figure that out later. Don't worry about it. Please don't start pressing buttons. Like I beg of you, please don't do that. So, as you probably saw in the title of today's stream, do not subscribe to this channel today. If you've done it already, not a big deal. But you can do what Jen did. You can gift some bits. But starting tomorrow, I believe, Twitch is doing something they've done, I think, now 4 or 5 years in a row called September. And September gives you discounts on subscriptions. And there's a couple different things they're going to be doing throughout the month, but all month long, you can get 25% off a 1-month subscription, 25% off a 3-month subscription, and 30% off a 6-month subscription.
Damn, Daniel.
Then, later in the month, they're going to be doing bonus bits. So it'll be cheaper to like cheer with bits.
That's cool.
And they'll be doing bonus gifted subs. So if you were to subscribe with or gifts 5 subs, Twitch will throw in at least one extra one that we would get, and we get the full price for that.
Okay.
That's later in the month. I think the last week of September, just to like really boost everything. But for right now, we don't want you to lose money if you can just do
Wait
the
a
same
day,
thing
yeah.
tomorrow and save even 25%.
Yeah.
So September will start tomorrow. You don't have to worry about it till we're back on stream next week.
You know what's so extreme? Seeing from
Oh, wait.
up.
What's today's date?
Oh, it's today.
Oh, it is today.
Let's go, bitches. Sub up.
I thought it was tomorrow this whole time.
Today is August 29th.
Yeah, so feel free to sub. Go for it. Never mind that whole...
Subs. Eat the subs.
So
It wasn't about
I cut you off when I realized that.
It is so weird seeing the dates August 29th through October 1st because August and October to me
Yeah.
are not a month apart.
They
They are extremes apart.
they feel like a world apart, yeah.
When does fall start?
September 23rd or something like that.
21st.
21st. So, sorry about all that confusion, but now you can sub. We just wanted to make sure that we were good, and we are. So, September, I guess, starts now.
Wow.
Weird day to start it.
August 29th.
Yeah.
Probably ahead of Labor Day weekend, something.
True.
If we can get a poll up, night stream versus day stream.
And-
Night stream versus day morning stream.
Okay.
Just curious, because I was seeing mixed reviews and it was coming through fast.
Lisa and Jen, thank you very much for gifting 5 subs each. I saw a sub from Nick NYC. Thank you for that. I see Miguel in Miami, Florida. But to everyone who has supported the stream so far, we are in level 5 of the hype train. If we get another 30%,
Yeah.
we can take some shots at least.
I did see some people saying we should do Wednesday night streams since we don't stream on Wednesdays.
We could, you know what? We could do that next week since we're taking off Monday.
Oh, we could do a Wednesday
We
stream
could do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and make up for
at night.
Yeah, why not? You want to do that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Just checking.
It wouldn't make sense if we were doing our normal Monday, Tuesday, Thursday stream. It wouldn't make sense to do a Wednesday night one.
Because then Thursday morning it'd be.
Yeah, you're basically
just saw you here.
2 streams within 12 hours. It's asking a lot of our community, and you guys already give us so much of your time and so much of your energy that I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know,
And Thursday night streams though are like we fly out on Thursday sometimes.
sometimes, but let's not worry about sometimes right now. Let me put up the list for the day, shall we, Carla Marie? So, talked about September. That is not on the way; it is here. We are going to get into the new word in the wild.
Now? Or are you
No,
gonna read
we'll
them
do
all?
that in a second. Supermarket creep instead of supermarket sweep. We will discuss that. New job for Carla Marie.
Oh yeah.
I have an actual test to prove how old geezerish you are.
Okay.
I think all of us are going to land on this list at some point. Some might be closer to 1 point. Some might be closer to the oldest, which is 24 points on this quiz.
I will be probably skewing very young.
I think we'll see. We'll see. You're wearing a doily, so I don't know. Did you take that from your kitchen table?
Oh my God, shut up.
And then we will get into PAX this weekend. If you're not familiar,
Yeah.
PAX is a huge gaming convention. And they do one on the West Coast here in Seattle, and they do one on the East Coast. I believe normally it's in Philly.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The thing I love about the West Coast convention, not only is
Philly
it here,
nerdy like us?
Philly's got some nerds, not like us though. There isn't a city in America
No.
as properly nerdy as Seattle. But when you think about it, Microsoft started here. Nintendo, when they came stateside, came here,
Still here.
right?
Yeah.
Pokemon headquarters in America, here. Wizards of the Coast. So Magic the Gathering, here.
Isn't Wizards of Waverly Place here too? No, iCarly is based in Seattle.
I have no idea. So that's the thing that I find so cool about PAX in Seattle specifically is this is where a lot of the big gaming decisions happen. Right?
Like they're gonna decide what game to make.
It's not that, but when it's in your backyard and you have a convention, like you have to put your best foot forward.
It's true.
Because you have to
It's
plant
cool.
your flag. And one of the cool things that I learned was I just posted about a book called The Console Wars
Yes.
between Sega and Nintendo. And when Sega, even though they were based in San Francisco, the American component of Sega, when they wanted to go on their mall tour, where they were really planning on like sticking it to Nintendo and doing a side-by-side test of Sonic the Hedgehog versus Mario, they specifically started it at Alderwood Mall here
No
in
way.
Seattle because they wanted to do it in Nintendo's backyard.
I didn't know that.
So
So do they like? So will their booths at PAX be near each other, or is there like drama?
I don't think there's that kind of drama now.
No, I bet you it's like in the fabric of your employee handbook.
I hope so. Competition
funny?
is good for all of us.
Oh my God.
I would love to see like a News Team 6 fight,
That's-
like from
News Team Assemble.
from
Anchorman.
Anchorman.
Okay, so I went to PAX with you last year. Got by far the coolest lanyard and keychain I've ever gotten. Like lanyard, like
Oh,
your
yeah.
ID that you have to wear when you walk around.
Yeah.
It was the coolest thing ever. I will not be attending this year, although I did enjoy that keychain. I decided I'm going to be an outdoor cat this weekend.
Okay.
I'm going to stay outside.
You're not going to join the nerds this week. I'm going to be doing
No,
that.
but get me something cool.
Like what?
A cat thing.
Okay, that's easy. Miguel in Miami, Florida, thank you very much for gifting 10 Tier 1 subs. I've got to believe we've gotten through Hype Train level 5. Joanna _DJ, thank you very
Oh.
much for gifting a sub as well.
Steam is also in Washington,
Oh, really?
which we need their help because we got Jackbox After Dark and Anthony doesn't know what to do.
I did not
Naughty.
know that Valve/Steam was in Kirkland.
Like
wow,
a
we're at
Steam
Hype Train
thing?
level 7, Carla Marie.
Well, you got some stuff.
You got the shot glasses on your side.
Do you want to take a shot of your new thing?
Of the whiskey? You're not going to want to take a shot
I
of
know
whiskey.
you
We'll do
want to
this.
take a shot of your whiskey.
I'll sip the whiskey later, maybe. I feel like it's too good of a whiskey to take a shot of, you know? Let's see. Thank you, Jen. Jen said we're in Hype Train level 7, 29% of the way through that. Yes, I can.
It's sticky. I didn't want to do it.
Also, I decided to go sleeveless today because, unfortunately, summer's over this weekend.
We're not going to do that. We'll be wearing white head to toe and then my winter whites will be out. So,
The winter whites.
what?
What is a winter
It's
white?
real.
What do you mean?
It's real.
Like a big puffy jacket, like an astronaut?
Yeah. No, winter white's wheel, winter white.
Are you okay? How many of those shots have you had already?
I just glitched.
Nick NYC 718 said, so if we go to level 8, are you guys going to do more shots?
Well,
Listen.
no, why 8?
I think if we get to 10, we've done that before,
Yeah.
where we've doubled up.
Is that limoncello? It sure is, and it's Polini Roma limoncello liqueur. It's the original limoncello.
Do you have the giggles? What is-
It's the original limoncello, and it's from I forget. Oh, Amalfi Coast.
That's where all the tourists go, right?
Yes.
All right. You ready, Carla Marie? First
It's
shot
from
of the
Amalfitano lemons.
That's amazing.
Served
I
chilled
think,
from the fridge.
I think we are done with this hype train. But here's the thing.
It's
Cheers
over?
to you, Carla Marie. Cheers to everyone who supported the stream today. Thank you. Woo! So these streams have been longer. What? You all right?
they made it in 1875, and that's when my great grandpa was born in Italy.
So that never existed in Italy with your family.
What?
Were all of them out?
Born then, I said. Born.
Oh, when did he emigrate?
1890s. So
Right,
they
well,
could have made this.
Well, to Grandpa
My
Monica.
great grandparents could have ate this.
What did you do today?
Also, you don't even know what side of the family it is.
No, I don't. But your whole family is just Monica's to me. Anyway, thank you very much, Nick, for the 2,000 bits. Appreciate that. And keep in mind, the hype train does reset every hour. And we have been doing these late night streams, or evening streams, I should say, later or longer than an hour. So we got a chance for another shot later, which will be interesting because I am going to try to go to the gym after this stream. Because here in Seattle, we'll be done with the stream around 7-ish.
You know, I thought about doing a workout, some Pure Bar tonight. I think I'm going to just veg.
Okay. You should. Listen, it's a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
Not that we work very hard, but it's a holiday weekend, you know?
It is 5:18 p.m. It is 5 o'clock some. I was so tired before
So
we
what
started.
happened?
So exhausted.
Did you pop a couple gummies?
Lights are on. I can do it with a broken heart. Lights, camera, bitch, smile.
Is your heart broken? So what's going on? Carla Marie's having an absolute meltdown.
Lights, camera. Ooh, can we have that in our intro?
What?
Taylor saying lights, camera, bitch, smile.
Yeah, that's the person I want to mix it up with legally.
No, we'll just take the music out and just use her words.
No, I don't. I'm not trying to get Donald Trump here. I don't want all these artists coming out like, hey, don't use our music.
Well, the difference is that we are not Donald Trump.
No, we're not. There is only one. Have you seen, who was the newest artist?
Jack White.
Jack White.
Yeah.
Because he was using a Seven Nation Army song, right? This is the
Such
thing
a great song.
This is the thing, and I know we've talked about it a lot. It doesn't make sense because now there's like at least half a dozen artists
More than that, I think.
that are threatening to take legal
Like,
action.
just use the ones that like you.
And there's enough of them.
I think
mean,
it's just
think
publicity.
about the hits that Kanye has. Think about the hit or two that Kid Rock has. Jason Aldean, Dirt Road Anthem. Play that thing all
Ball
day.
with the Ball, man. That would be. Why
Yeah.
are you using Seven Nation Army when you could use Ball with the Ball?
He's got so many to choose from.
But
Many, and maybe
It's
not a ton of.
No, it is a publicity stunt at this point. It's
Maybe.
now I'm getting this. No matter, even if that artist's fans hate you, it now is invigorating your fan base even more, like his fan base even more, to be like,
Yeah.
no, now we hate you. We're all on this island.
But here's what would piss me off if I was like a Kid Rock person. If I was Kid Rock. If I was Kid Rock, you asked me to come to your convention.
Yeah. Perform.
I go, right? I do the thing. I do the song and dance. I'm telling all these people I love you. You can't even play my songs at your
It's
rally?
weird. Or maybe they are and we just don't know because we're not hearing about
Yeah.
that.
Maybe.
And I'm not going to the rally. Are you?
No. There's very little chance I'd go to any politician's
I've
rally.
been.
But you were working for your school radio station, right?
In 2008, then Senator Obama
Mm-hmm.
was at PNC Bank Art Center off of exit 114 off of the Parkway
Yes.
in New Jersey.
Yeah. Holmdel, New Jersey.
And I was there for WRSU Rutgers Radio as the news director. And I was reporting on it. And I have a photo of me
Yeah,
in
if
my
I was,
polo. And he's like this tiny, I don't know where it is, tiny little man on the stage. It was so cool.
listen, if I was doing something for work, like we had Hillary on the show
Yeah.
when we first got to Seattle.
Yeah.
And that was a work thing. They were trying to get some press. We were like, why not talk to someone who was the first lady, someone who was a secretary of state, someone who's the first woman to be nominated as the presidential candidate for a major party.
Do you remember when she was like, oh, Carla Marie, I know student loans are very important to you.
Yeah.
And we were like,
Yeah.
what? So I was telling my friend Chris, who I was talking about a few weeks ago, how my friend Chris from high school was out here. And it was the first time I saw him
Yeah.
in years, and we hung out. He's in the DC area, like knows a lot of politics, like knew politics in high school way before any of us knew anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that one thing he actually knows about her team is that they will excessively do a deep dive on everyone she's going to do an interview with.
As they should.
And they hand her a packet.
Yeah.
And I was like, but that means that these people were listening to our radio show. Because at the time, I wouldn't think I was like posting about student loans.
But that's what I would expect.
It's crazy.
Right? If I'm, because you are, your team is an extension of you and you are an extension of your team. That's what I would expect from any candidate that wants to win that seat. Like, you need to be thorough. You need to know who you're talking to. You need to do research. But when we had her on, that was still a cool moment.
Yeah.
And
we tried getting Mr. Trump.
We tried. At the time, there were 3 candidates because Bernie was still there.
Bernie dropped out right after.
Yeah. So what happened was Hillary's team reached out, and Washington was one of the states where Bernie was crushing Hillary. So Hillary's team obviously wanted to get the word out there. So she reached out to a bunch of radio stations. We were one of them. Had her on. And what you have to do in that position is you do have to offer the other candidates some time.
Don't have to offer. You don't have to extend the. You don't.
But
have
if they want to, you have to make time for them.
Yeah,
yes.
You don't have to
Yes.
extend the invite. But we did. We're like, let's do it.
So we reached out to Bernie's team. And there was a chance we were going to have time with him, but we were going to have to go to the hotel that he was doing press at.
But then they told us no.
So what happened was they got the early numbers back from the Democratic primary.
They didn't.
And he was so far ahead of Hillary that he left this state early to go to another state.
But the same thing happened with Trump.
No, Trump was different because there wasn't a Republican primary that same weekend. It was later on, but we did reach out to Trump's team because he was the presumptive nominee. And originally they wanted to give us one of the actors from Broke Girls, 2 Broke Girls.
Yeah, who cares?
I don't know. I don't remember which one of them was part of his campaign.
Max, but I don't know her name in real life.
Okay. So originally they were going to give us her to talk about Trump's campaign.
And we were like, no.
We said no. With all due respect, the candidate from the other campaign made time, so we're only going to accept time from the candidates. And then they said, what about Don Jr. or Ivanka?
We were like,
which we also said no to. And we said, again, and we were being very courteous the whole time. It was really our producer at the time, Brett, who said, with all due respect, again.
Give me Kid Rock. It was Kat Dennings.
Kat Dennings. So with all due respect, we're only making time for the candidates themselves.
Yeah.
And then, so Hillary was the only one out of the 3 at the time.
It was crazy. I remember. We talk about this often because I remember Elvis texting us. He was like, he had a vacation that weekend or something. And I remember him texting. He's like, I just listened to your interview from
wherever in the world he
Bali,
was. Yeah.
I don't know. And he was like, and I'm sitting here and I have tears in my eyes because I'm just so proud of you guys. And like, you're adults interviewing possible like candidates. This is insane.
Use that term lightly,
Yeah.
adults. You know what?
Okay, hold on. Run Like a Husky.
Yes.
Is watching the show right now from the New York State Fair.
Oh,
Currently
cool.
drinking a maple sugar slushie. It's my favorite day of the year. Can you call us?
That sounds pretty good. Why?
Because I have questions about the fair. Because ours starts tomorrow. We have never been.
I need to get the phone lines up.
And I want to hear the fair sounds. Right?
What?
Like the kids like, oh, the rides are playing music.
Was that?
What?
What's Christmas Carol that just popped in here?
No, she's hibernating.
Oh, okay.
She's gearing up.
Okay, we do have the phone lines open now. If you feel like hitting us up, it is
Type in Heather's name. I bet you she comes up.
201-305-0894. Heather does not come up here.
Wow, that's offensive.
Wow, maybe she hates us. I don't know. So let's say we didn't even get into a lot of the things on the list here.
It's okay.
So, new word in the wild. If you missed the show on Tuesday, I had a whole list of kind of old school words that this Instagram account that does like linguistic things said are some of the coolest, best words you can bring back.
Yes.
That's all I know.
Okay. I learned a new word yesterday. It was not on your list.
Oh.
But I learned a new word in real life. And I'm just going to quickly set you up as to where I was so you understand.
Okay.
Before I say this word is the most insane word, and you're going to use it, and I can't wait.
Okay.
We were at a workshop for Seahawks, and it was all of the in-game hosts, including our PA announcer, Kirby. If you've ever been to the stadium, he is the booming voice you hear in the stadium. And I don't get to spend much time with him. He's up in a booth. So now we're doing like 3 words about yourself and give us your background so we all really start to get to know each other a little more. And Kirby says one word that I use for myself that no one really knows what it means is avuncular.
Avuncular?
Avuncular.
How do you spell it?
I'll get it, but it starts with an A.
Okay.
He goes, it's more of a term of endearment. It's uncle-like. And I was like, what? Now, when you Google the actual word, the definition is maternal uncle. Okay. Because there's another word for paternal uncle. But he's like, that's just how I consider myself. And I was
avuncular.
Like, avuncular.
That's
so all
cool.
day we're like, this is wild. Like we just kept going back to this word. So the female, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to use this. What is the ant one? The ant one is not as fun. It's maternal. Kind of like maternal.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like a tertiary maternal figure.
Basically. And I was like, we're just going to go with avuncular.
Yeah, avuncular is cool.
Right? So who knew? I did not know that existed.
So with all the memes that I've seen about like Tim Walz, kind of like being America's uncle or America's dad, that would be an avuncular person.
And when Kirby said that, we were all like, yeah, that's you. And he's like, my wife and I don't have kids. So this is how like I consider it. And I was like, man, this is me. I'm avuncular because I don't want to go with the female word.
So I'm looking up the female one. It says
Maturtural. Yeah, it's kind of like a turtle.
It's an ugly word.
It was the best because he said it because we're like, what is it for women? And he says it and we all went, ooh, no, never mind.
So relating to an uncle or kind and friendly toward a younger or less experienced person, adjective, avuncular. Yeah. An avuncular manner.
How cool.
I like that word a lot.
And it was such like other than learning a new word, but being in a workshop, that is such a great way to describe yourself. And it made so much sense.
Does it fit him, though?
Oh, my God, yes.
Because you haven't had a ton of time with him.
No, it definitely fits him.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. It was so fun. My 3 words?
Yeah, what were they? Thumbs up?
Loyal.
Okay.
Adventurous. And unserious.
It's pretty good.
I was like, I like saying unserious versus silly because everyone's like, oh, you're so silly.
Well, silly also, I think there's actually a difference between unserious and silly.
That's fair.
I think there's a legitimate difference between the two.
I do not take myself seriously. And I can't, and that's what I say all the time when I'm at games and I'm like, I don't care. I'll go on camera and do something stupid. I'm not going to get embarrassed being silly or unserious on camera. I'll do it. I don't care. I will not. I can't take myself seriously. So yeah, everyone, avuncular.
Avuncular. That is a good one. Supermarket creep is the next thing we have on the list. And this is something that we've talked about a lot. And I guess and this is one of the things I do love about social media and the internet now. There, I guess, is a hearing going on right now with Kroger and Albertsons and the FTC because Kroger was trying to buy Albertsons for some insane amount of billions of dollars. The FTC stepped in and said, we think that actually might be detrimental to consumers because you will own, at that point, there's some crazy statistic like the new merger and Walmart will own something insane like 60% of the supermarket space in America.
And when you go right now, in Seattle, we have Kroger and Albertsons. We have like the Fred Meyer and Safeway. They're 2 different companies. And they rival one another with their prices, but if they were the same company, then they can just raise them all.
And even if none of these even if those big brands aren't by you, there's a good chance one of their subsidiaries is. Mostly at Midwest and East and West Coast though, because I don't think they have any presence on the East Coast.
Well, because ShopRite and Stop
and Shop, those are the only ones.
Food Town, but I don't know if it
does. A&P still exist
or Acme.
There's a lot, but anyway. So the FTC is having a hearing with these brands to figure out if it will be detrimental or beneficial to the consumers if these 2 link up.
Does not help me.
And the concern that the FTC has, which most of us had as well, was, well, if you own that many supermarkets, there's really no competition and you can inflate the prices as much as you want and screw over the consumers. It's the same reason that they blocked JetBlue and Spirit merging a couple months ago. And it came out in that hearing that the CEO of Kroger apparently admitted,
flat out said the words.
and said, yes, we raised our prices post-pandemic more than we had to make up for inflation. So even though everyone was blaming these grocery prices on inflation, we were actually bumping them up even more than we needed to just to make our money back.
And he said, like, it was mainly like milk, eggs, like the stuff that everyone is buying. And
the reason we bring this up, and the reason I said I love the way that the internet is working these days, is I don't know how many mainstream news sources would, for two reasons. One, I don't think most people care about what happens in these like hearings on Capitol Hill.
The number one company that was, or the number one article I kept seeing it on was Newsweek.
Okay.
So, which is a great publication, but it's not your top.
No, it's not your top like
AP,
destination.
Yeah.
But the other thing you have to remember is a lot of the CNNs and the Fox Newses of the world, what do they run on? They run on ads. Who runs a ton of ads?
Grocery
stores. So I don't know if it's in their best interest to run ads that hurt their biggest advertisers. So it's one of the things that I have loved about stories like this that can take off online, because it's stuff that we actually as human beings care about, regardless of the side of the aisle that you're on.
Right.
We could all agree, like, yeah, no one wants to spend $16 for a carton of eggs.
Well, you said to me the other day, if Walmart and Target can come out and say, we're going to lower the prices on
Thousands.
1,000 items this summer, the problem was never inflation.
Yeah.
The problem is Walmart and Target.
Yeah. And that's not to say inflation didn't exist. Inflation absolutely happened.
Right.
But
where our inflation levels are super low, what is happening?
Yeah. Yeah. And when you compare, listen, inflation sucks. No one wants to pay more money for anything. But when you compare how America has done compared to the rest of the world, we legitimately have the best economy in the world post-pandemic. So inflation is still much higher in other places. Let's see. There are Wegmans in Pennsylvania too.
I need to do
Is Wegmans part of the?
I think people were just talking about different
okay.
places. I think it needs to be a feed post on Instagram. You know?
What do you mean?
Like it's just on my Instagram story, your Instagram story. I think it needs a.
It's definitely something that we normally would have talked about in the morning show podcast.
So we gave a little nugget of it here. Sprinkle it in.
But this is, oh man, and I don't want to get up on a soapbox here, but this is where I really wish we could come together as not only just Americans, but like literally citizens of the world and go, okay, you know what? Maybe we don't all agree on the exact specifications of immigration policy. Maybe we don't agree on exactly how much we should be taxed and where that tax money should go. But we agree on way more things than we are led to believe.
Yes.
And most of us would argue, unless you are literally a stockholder of Kroger or in their, one of their C-suite executives, this is something that we should all be angry about.
For sure.
Together. Not finger pointing, but literally saying together, we are not as a nation or humanity going to stand for this anymore. You're not going to hold our food hostage. And if that was to happen, we would have such better lives.
So where do we all do? We starve for a few weeks?
I mean, you do have to buy less, right? Because one of the reasons that Walmart and Target and all these other stores... I gotta
go to Town and Country, which I freaking love here. It is a local grocery store. It is so nice. It is so clean. They have the best products. I can't afford to shop there.
It's not cheap.
It's
great store, not cheap.
Like when people are like, Whole Foods is so expensive.
Let's see. Jen just said I Googled and Wegmans is a family-owned store. That's awesome.
Cool. All right, we can go there then.
We don't have them out here.
We can order delivery.
No, it is. And one of the reasons when you say, what do we have to do? Stop buying stuff. And that is part of the solution, right? Because one of the reasons Walmart and Target came out and said, hey, we're going to lower the price on 7,000 items. One of the reasons that McDonald's said we're going to extend our $5 value menu
stop going
is because people stopped going. We don't realize how much power we actually have.
I had this conversation with someone today.
When we just get on the same page for like 3 things. That's
Yes.
all we have to do as humans is get on the page for like 3 things and say we are not going to stand for lower standards than this.
We would.
And we'd be fine.
Yeah.
We would be fined. Fine. Not fined.
We'd probably be fined too, but.
Let's see. Someone said Publix is awesome. Publix are they outside of Florida? Or is it just a Florida chain? They've got to be.
I don't know, but they have plastic bags.
Yes, a lot of people have plastic bags, Carlin.
Didn't even give us the option.
This is a great point. Zeal Crux said, remember how fast Wendy's went back on their surge pricing? Remember that was the thing where there was a story that Wendy's was working on digital screens in their restaurants and on their drive-thrus that they could adjust the pricing of items in an instant.
But to Wendy's defense, if airlines can do it because they see me searching a trip, why can't Wendy's make the fries more expensive because more people are in line?
But this is another example of like, we just have to scale back. Like, we have to stop going to those places. Now, airlines are tougher because sometimes you have no choice other than to fly. The argument that I would make is, well, then we should be pushing for trains.
We should be. Everyone agrees. Whenever I like post about trains or talk about trains in public, there's like a group of people that are like, yes, trains. And it's like, guys, do we need to like come together?
I was actually having this discussion with my brother Justin the other day. I think trains are the most universally appreciated modes of transportation, of public transportation at least. Or like buses, I don't love them.
No, because you're still on the road in traffic.
Yeah. Also, you're not saving a ton of time. Planes, people are scared of, and then you have the whole, not even just being in the air. You've got 2 hours before you get onto a flight. You got to start preparing your whole life for that. Right? Getting off the plane takes forever. Trains, you just get on, you get off, and you're good.
No security.
Which we'll probably have to change at some point, but they're great.
Joanna, great point. This is how I feel about New York City. If enough people stopped accepting the crazy rent and brokerage fee, then maybe things would change. But people need housing, so that's not going to happen.
Well, no, but do you remember?
The fee is changing.
So during the pandemic, when people started saying, I need more space since everything else is closed, I need to get out of this apartment. When people started going to Connecticut and Pennsylvania and New Jersey, rents actually started coming down.
And New Jersey house prices went up.
Yeah.
I remember my brother being like, the people from New York all got cars and came into New Jersey and they can't drive.
Yeah. You know what? I want to take a quick break. Then we'll talk about the new job for Carla Marie.
I can't wait to tell you about it.
We will get into this quiz to figure out how old of a geezer you are. I think we're all going to be on the list to some degree.
I think I'm going to be off the charts young.
You're going to be 0? 0 is the lowest you can be on this quiz. You can't be negative, as far as I know. But we'll get into that and some other things.
If it asks if my back hurts, I'm in trouble.
Carla Marie, would you like to join us at the table? With your doily? We can't set this table without your shirt.
Do you remember we were at an event the other night and there was a guy wearing a doily?
Yes. I mean, it was the same shirt.
It was a vest, though, and I saw it in my head, and I was like, that looks like a doily. But I'm not going to say anything to Anthony, because if I said that looks like a doily, he's going to be like, you're so mean. So I didn't say anything, and then fast forward 10 minutes, Anthony's like, this person looks like they're wearing a doily.
Yeah. He was. But it was also the event that we went to was like a more fashion-forward event, so people took some risks, you know?
And I loved
Not
my
me.
dress, but I think I could have been more like, I could have made more fashion risks.
You know, I don't think, and this is kind of inside, I know not everyone was at this event, but there are pictures up somewhere
On my Instagram.
on Carla Marie's Instagram. It was for like a fashion magazine that's local here in Seattle. And I feel like the men, especially the football players, obviously, and they have bigger budgets, they can do whatever they want. I feel like the men took more fashion chances.
They did, because
than
they
the
worked
women
with
did.
that cool suit company, and they all got to pick out cool suits.
But there was a guy wearing like a full cowboy outfit at one point, and not the country singer, another guy. It felt like the guys were taking chances with their wardrobes. I didn't. I just wore a black suit with a button-down shirt.
Yeah. We got to change that. We got to get you some paisley or something.
Here's what I realized watching all of the other like fashionistas, if you will. And I say other because I am a fashionista when I want to be. I realized you have to have a lot of closet space. Because like you can't wear that stuff every day.
No, you
Right.
rent it.
But they don't have the rental stuff for
They
guys,
did.
do they?
Those guys, I think, borrowed those suits.
No. I'm not talking about the guys in the nice suits, which obviously if you want a whole catalog of nice suits, you need some space for that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, you need if you're going to be a full fashionista or fashionisto, you need a huge closet.
And I don't really have that kind of space.
You don't, and I'm not giving you mine.
I don't want it. But the thing is, I have a pretty like
And
compared
I got
to the
rid of so
closet
much.
compared to the closet that I grew up with, I have a much larger one now. It's got like, you know, it's the sliding door. It's got both sides of the doors. I don't know. How'd you describe that closet?
It's a closet. It's
No, because like the closet I grew up with.
It's a California closet, so it is. That space is designed for maximum storage.
Okay, but the closet that I grew up with, and I'm assuming a lot of people grew up with the same
Just
style.
open the
It's
door.
a door that you open, and it's got like a decent amount of space on the bottom. You put your laundry hamper in that, and then it has like 3 shelves.
I had a sliding door one growing up.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, rich. Did you have wood paneling in your house?
Like
You know the wood, like the walls with the wood paneling that you can like kind of push in?
my grandparents did.
Oh, that's what we grew up with. And then until I was in middle school, and then they redid our upstairs in our house.
We had radiators that my
Um,
parents painted, and then they would bubble in the winter.
No, we had like the floor, whatever the floorboard.
Oh, that's fancy. That's rich.
heaters.
Did you have an ice machine growing up?
An ice machine?
Like your refrigerator made ice and water?
No.
We didn't have that. Till I
That was a
older.
newer thing. My parents had to wait till the 3 kids moved
Yeah,
out.
I feel like same for us.
And then they actually had money because
They weren't feeding you guys eggs.
exactly, they weren't paying for 3
We did
idiot
have a
kids.
pool though growing up. We may not have had a lot of money, but we had a pool.
We did not have. But one of the points my mom made growing up was we had so many friends that had pools in Ridgewood that it was kind of silly because she would ask me, she'd go, okay, if we open up a pool, is that something you want to clean every couple days?
No, that's
and
not
I
my
said,
job.
no,
That's my
absolutely
dad's
not. She
job.
said, okay, so go to your friends' pools because they've got all the fancy machines that clean everything and we don't have to worry about it. And I said, you know what, Mom? Good point.
I say radiator
It's a radiator.
because it radiates heat.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
A radiator isn't a thing unless it's shooting out rats.
Maybe it is. It probably was at one point.
Let's see. We lived in an apartment until we got to high school and moved to our house. Closet space was better in the apartment. Interesting.
My apartment in Seattle had your closet was the size of your whole apartment.
Yeah, but that was a 1-bedroom apartment. I couldn't imagine having a whole family
No.
that needed to store all of their
because
crap.
where they also go to sleep.
Yeah.
Meg says that I say radiator, right?
No, it's a radiator. That's what it is. I don't know what to tell you. You can say whatever you want. Back to the list on the screen. So Carla Marie had me write new job for CM.
Okay.
Explain this.
Let me explain to you about the job that I am about to apply for and how I found it. Oddly enough, I was watching Parks and Rec last night, and I'm scrolling through Instagram at the same time, and Seattle Parks and Rec account posted that they were hiring a director for events.
Okay.
Not the job I'm applying for, but that is what got me to the Seattle government page of all the jobs.
What do they got?
I come across a job called a page, Page, and I'm thinking like an NBC page. You know how those are the people that give you the tours of NBC?
Oh, yeah.
I click it. It's to work at the Seattle Public Library, putting books back.
Okay.
$25 to $30 an hour.
So that's not a librarian.
No.
You're just a book putter backer.
Part-time book putter backer.
Okay.
Benefits. The city of Seattle offers a comprehensive benefits package, including vacation, holiday and sick leave, medical, dental, vision, life, and long-term disability insurance for employees and their dependents.
I love it.
20 hours a week. I have that time.
Also, what are the hours of the library?
I don't know. What are the hours of the library?
Is it all public libraries or like the main one in Seattle?
It is.
Can they send you out to different places to put different books back?
It just says the Seattle Public Library.
So probably the big one.
It says, but like, are they going to ask me?
Nick just said, "What? I'll drive from Lacey for that." And for people who don't know Washington, Lacey and Seattle are not close.
And I'll be honest with you, there are a lot of part-time jobs in this city that offer full benefits.
You know
Dick's
what job?
Drive-In, Fred Meyer, Dick's Burgers,
Dick's
Fred
Burgers,
Meyer
yep.
offers it.
Panda Express, the one that's at the QFC, that was giving out some great benefits.
But like, I don't need to talk to people. They're going to ask me where books are, and I'm going to say, there's got to be a machine that tells you, and I'm just going to be headphones in, just like all the cool kids in movies, putting books back, using the Dewey Desk, which I learned about.
The Dewey Decimal System.
I mean, come on.
I do love that, actually.
I know.
And there was a job, Carla Marie and I were driving around Seattle. I forgot where we were when we saw this.
It doesn't.
And I think it's a city job. It was a guy riding around on an e-bike, and he had like a little basket on the back of the e-bike.
I was looking for that.
And he had a little garbage picker, and he would just ride around Seattle.
And like scrubbing some graffiti.
Yeah. Kind of sounds awesome.
It's probably BYOB.
Bring your own bike?
Yeah.
Okay. I got one of those.
Okay, so then I'm going through this. And so our friend Ellie, she's also a weed woman. She created her own business here in Seattle, and she weeds townhomes. Hourly rate. It's amazing because us townhome owners are millennials that know nothing about gardening.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I come across a gardening job for the city. And it was I don't even know. I sent it to her. I was like, Ellie. She goes, I'm applying for this right now.
Absolutely.
Gardener. Okay, so various areas of Seattle, $30 to $36 an hour. Category, maintenance and horticulture. And let's see, I think it was part-time as well.
You know how some public parks have that outdoor gym equipment?
Yeah.
Could I be like a public parks outdoor gym trainer?
Oh my God.
I just stand outside of the park, and when people come up to the pull-up bar, I'm like, all right, this is perfect pull-up for him. Here you go.
So
I'll spot you.
I'm no joke gonna apply for this job.
Okay.
And I'm gonna see what happens.
Why not?
But I gotta study the Dewey Desk just to get over a little bit.
I bet you they have a better system than the Dewey Decimal System now. I
can't.
bet you there's some sort of scan. You have an app. You scan the book, and it goes, all right, you're going to put this in like aisle 17, row 4. Done.
And when they say to me, why do you want this job?
You say, because you love books. And you want the kids to have the books.
But the children love the book. I'm going to say, listen, I need medical insurance.
Here's the thing. Let's break this down and be honest. Do you think the public library, for a job like that, to just put books back, do you think they care why you want the job?
Well, what if I'm like, I want to be a librarian one day?
Then that's great.
But I don't want that.
But that's
Should
not.
I lie?
No, just say I love the idea of having a job.
I need the bennies.
Where I could come in and just put books back. I love organization, which you don't. But
I'm gonna show up.
I'm gonna go there.
I love the Dewey Desk. I'm here for some bennies. I'm straight up Tom from Parks and Rec.
I'm gonna show up to your interview, and when they say, "How are you with organizational stuff?" I'm gonna have pictures of all of our cabinets, and I'm gonna say, "Sir or ma'am, you need to know this before you hire this woman. This is how she leaves cabinets. This is how she stacks things in the Tupperware drawer."
And they're probably gonna be like, "Sir, we don't stand for masculine anger in this library."
I interned as a kid's librarian in school. So much fun. Love librarians.
I love libraries. But I feel like I'm gonna
libraries, not librarians.
I feel like I'm gonna need to check a book out with my library card before I interview
to let them know you're part of the system.
And the other problem is
hold on. You have a card.
I do, but they're gonna see that there's no transactions, and I went to, but then their whole system got hacked.
Okay. So maybe go rent a book.
Do you think they're hiring more than one page? We could sneak around the library together and work. It'd be so cute.
I'm good. It's called a page?
A page.
Like PAGE.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Because that's what an NBC page is, the one that gives you the tour of NBC. There are 2 positions available. We could have so many benefits. But are they going to be mad when I'm like, I got to go to New Jersey for 5 days?
No, I'm sure you have do you have days off and whatnot? Figure it out.
I mean, if they fire me, whatever. I mean, no offense.
They're watching this interview.
Oh, assignment expected to end on or before March 10th. It's temporary. So I'm only going to have bennies for a few months?
Maybe. Cindy K said,
it's perfect.
Does your library connect to the library app? Download Kindle books for free.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
I think Seattle Public Library does, right?
But there was an issue when our library system got hacked a few weeks ago. Actually, more than that at this point, and you couldn't do anything online.
Isn't there some workaround, like when you download a book on a Kindle, you can then take it offline and you basically have that book?
I don't know if
as
it works
long as
for.
you want?
I don't know if it works for. I don't know if you can do that for library books.
The Libby app is amazing. That is one of the ones that I've needed to download. I know you've talked about it a lot. My brother Justin has talked about the Libby app. And instead of buying a book from Amazon, you can rent a book from your public library through the Libby app. You could, right?
Libby, and there's another one.
Scotty says you can get movies and music as well.
Mm-hmm. You could work. You would love this job. It's no benefits though, but it's temporary.
Okay.
City records management. You work for the legislative department.
And what do I do?
Are you a records management professional who would like to make a positive difference for the people of Seattle?
No.
It's true. It involves paperwork. Where's the donkey jobs that are just physical,
just moving things around?
Labor jobs.
Kendi says airplane mode. Done it many times. So you can rent a book from the library. I think you're not necessarily stealing it. You're just giving yourself longer access than you would have had. And then at some point, you're going to have to put your Kindle back in airplane mode or back out of airplane mode.
Legislative department, tone should apply with all of us past traffic. Dang it.
I don't have that many.
They would be like, sir, you can't work for the city because we see that you didn't show up for jury duty.
And I'm going to say, whatever. I'm a rebel without a cause.
What about a court martial? Could you do that?
What do I have to do?
Is that a person that's, you like your security, no?
I don't know.
Yeah. No.
What's that job?
No, that's not it. That's not it.
Yeah, and Kendi said that's the minute you connect to the internet, the book will disappear if it's overdue. I don't mind that. You're still supporting the library to a degree.
Right. It's not like you're losing. It's not like they're losing money.
Yeah.
Digital communications specialist. Okay, this is a full-time job for the city of Seattle. Are you ready for this? The salary range for a digital...
What is the job? Like, what do you do?
Legislative department again. Okay. As a digital communications specialist, the ideal candidate will be an effective communicator, bring enthusiasm to their work, and provide leadership and guidance over the Seattle City Council's communication strategy while embracing the city's race and social justice initiative. Okay. You manage digital multimedia communications, create graphics for social media. Okay. You're basically just your comms for the city of Seattle. The salary range is $100,000 to $180,000.
That's a big job for the whole city. I don't think you realize how much work that is and how many different departments you'd have to worry about.
I mean, it's 40 hours a week.
That's a big job. And Claire and Olympia said, I know people who work for the city of Seattle and they make $signs, bank.
I'm going to own this library. I am going to own this library by the end of this job.
Yeah, if you were doing that, if you were doing the communications job, would you have to then work with city council to get their messages out?
Yeah, and I don't.
Because that's a big job.
I don't like a lot of them, and one of them hasn't answered my email. So maybe I'm going to get this job just to go up to him and give him some smack.
You should give him a piece of your mind, your 2 cents. What are you reaching out to the city council about?
Because they're building a home on my street and they did not put a land use sign.
Let's see. Mellow FM said, looking up City of Seattle jobs. Listen, I think we do need to make sure like good people are taking these local jobs because you want people.
I'm a great person.
We want really good people taking some of these jobs and making sure that people who care are in these positions.
You could be the person that electrical power systems, the engineer for wood pole design. So you're just designing the logs that go in. Come on.
The pole that hasn't changed its design.
The pole that has 8,000 wires on it.
200 years.
$65 to $77 an hour.
Sounds pretty good.
Kind of.
All right, we are going to move on, Carla Marie.
Wait.
What?
I think we're about to get some people to move here.
By all means. Sales is a great
Elevator
place.
inspector. If you teach me how to do it, I can inspect it.
Yeah, I can't inspect elevators. I don't want a job that could result in someone like directly dying. That's not the kind of pressure I need in a job. You know?
Yeah, well.
Because any job you could essentially cause someone to die, but there's like levels to it.
You could do this, intermittent parking attendant.
Is it like
$24
intermittent
to
fasting?
$29 an hour. You're only there, you're there intermittently.
Do you know how reckless I would be if you gave me the ability to give people parking tickets? I would be out there. I would be the parking ticket czar.
Okay, this is great. It's an on-call position with no guaranteed minimum number of hours. They call you when they need someone.
Okay.
You provide information about parking events and facilities, sell parking and make change. It's probably when there's events. Prepare and submit bank deposit paperwork. Oh,
no,
on a new screen.
No, I thought this was like being a meter maid, kind of.
I feel like that's such an offensive word.
Meter maid?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it was always just a woman's job.
I feel like it wasn't a woman's job.
It was always a woman's job in my town.
Okay, well, that's your small town. I don't think it was always a woman's job everywhere in America. It was probably pretty hard for women to get jobs at one point.
Felipe said, seems like I'll need the money to buy the groceries.
So, wait, what do you call a meter maid these days?
A parking attendant. A parking czar.
Meter maid. Get out of here. Meter maid is a female member of a police office or traffic department who issues tickets for parking violations and other offenses like jaywalking.
Parking
the term meter
enforcement.
maid was first used in
1957.
Yeah.
Okay, parking enforcement officer.
a PEO. I could be a PEO.
I would love to write.
What if I
want
to be a meter maid
But
though?
then
And I
some
want to
people are
like
gonna
get
yell at me
sassy.
and I'll cry and I'll be like, all right, I'll take the ticket back.
As someone who's gotten thousands probably of parking tickets in my life,
We have one right now.
I'm gonna go ham, letting everyone else have it. It's getting out of control in this city. Speaking of which, let's talk about old man yelling at the sky for a second, at clouds. So I found this list that is supposed to tell you how old you actually are.
All right, you sent this.
Not
to
like your age, but are you a really old person or not? So you give yourself 1 point for every one of these things that you have done.
Didn't
Okay,
you
Carla
send
Marie?
it here? You've sent it to me to fill out, no?
No, it's not a fill. I sent it because I needed this picture.
Oh.
So here, do you have a pen over there? You could do yours. I'll do mine.
You have a pen?
I have. I'm gonna fall. Oh, okay. And you could keep score at home if you'd like. We'll wait for Carla Marie to get her pen.
Is my butt in the camera?
Your butt's not in the camera. No. Do you want it to be? Okay, so first on the list, Carla Marie, is have you ever used a rotary phone?
Yeah, my grandparents' house.
But so here's my question. Did you actually use it to make a phone call?
Yes.
Okay. Because like I've played with a rotary phone, but it wasn't connected to anything, so that doesn't count, right? Used a floppy disk. That is one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Used a typewriter.
Yeah.
I've never actually had to create. I've played around with typewriters, but I've never had to create.
had to use one. Taking pics with a film camera?
Taken pics with a film camera. Yes, I have. Both disposable and non. Made a mixtape. Absolutely.
But a mixtape?
Yeah, like a cassette.
I haven't done that.
You never recorded songs off the radio on a cassette?
Got that, yeah.
Listened to music on a CD. I missed one before, but yes, did that too. Owned a Walkman. Oh, that's 5. I'm at 5 already.
I'm at 6.
Whew.
Wait, how did I get to 6?
Because you used a rotary phone, allegedly.
I did use a rotary phone.
Okay.
But you know what, though? But I didn't have to only use a rotary phone.
But you used it to make a phone call, yes? That counts.
I don't know now.
You're just getting nervous because you think you're old.
That's maybe.
No, we're leaving it on there. Let's see. Listened to music on a boombox. Absolutely, I had a boombox.
Yeah.
Watched a movie on VHS.
Yep.
Sure did. I'm at 7. What are you at, Carla Marie? 8?
Yep.
Rented a movie from Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
Learned cursive. Are people not learning cursive these
No,
days?
they stopped that like 2-3 years ago in school. These kids have no idea what's happening.
Played an Atari.
No, like my brother had it.
Yeah. I definitely played it at one point in my life. So, and not as like a retro thing. Like when I was a kid, one of my cousins had one. I probably played Pong or something
probably
like
wasn't
that.
allowed to.
So we're both tied at 10 now.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the right side of the list.
Sent or received a fax. I have.
I sent so many. This was the worst part about working at KTU when I got there, was we used to have to fax a lot of winners' information back and forth. Man, that was a struggle. Had a MySpace account.
Sure did.
I never had a personal MySpace account. Never had.
What a loser.
So I had to make like a work account,
What?
but I never had a personal
Why? 'Cause
MySpace
you thought
account.
it wasn't cool?
Yeah, I just hated
so
the idea.
annoying.
Hated the idea
You're
of
so
MySpace.
annoying.
Ordered from Columbia House. I've never done that.
I don't know what that is.
It was a catalog where you could order like, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but you could order like 10 CDs for $1.
Like blank CDs?
No, like music CDs. Anyone here order from Columbia House? Let's see in the chat if
God,
anyone
they
has
already
done that.
did their whole thing already.
Okay.
Jen in an early second.
Had an AOL address.
Yep.
Sure did. Access the internet via dial-up. Sure did. Used an encyclopedia.
Yep.
I actually did that too. My Uncle Simon used to have like
Britannica.
the Britannica set in his house because he lived in
My
my
parents
grandmother's
still
house
have
for a
them.
long time. And then he'd have a couple dictionaries, and his whole thing was like just reading a page of the dictionary every day.
I like that. My parents still have the encyclopedias, and I think like at this point they're artifacts.
Yeah, they're relics at this point.
Yeah.
Used a phone book.
Yep.
Like a Yellow Pages or just
Yeah.
any sort of phone book?
Yellow pages, I would
I
say.
think I've definitely used a phone book
Oh
to
my
like
God,
find a
yeah.
Chinese restaurant or something.
All the time.
Do you know that's why so many Chinese restaurants have like A+ Chinese restaurant?
Because they'd be in the beginning.
'Cause
of
they
the
would be
phone
first.
book.
Yeah. Pizza places too.
A1 pizza.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. Let's see. Sent a postcard.
Yep.
I've done that actually kind of recently.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever did it as a kid. I think I've only
Used
done it
a
recently.
paper map. Yep.
Wait, hold on. Did we skip any? Encyclopedia, phone book, postcard, paper map. Yep. Actually,
I mean,
I must have at some point.
I do it in national parks.
Yeah, I guess that counts. Owned a dictionary.
Yeah.
My family did.
I had one, a little one, little Miriam.
Written a check. I still have done that. And uncurled a telephone cord. What do you got, Carla Marie?
15, 21.
20. You are older than I am.
What did I do?
You had your rotary phone.
No. And then
Yes.
we tied at Atari. What changed?
Oh.
Oh, MySpace.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean how do you have rotary phone and MySpace in the same age thing? I didn't
So-
use a rotary phone.
No, you're trying to take it back now. Remember when you said you were going to be at the lower end? Do you know how many options there were there?
Probably 20.
24. And you had how many?
21.
21.
I thought it was going to be about being a boomer,
Let's
not being a
see.
millennial.
Let's see. Lenny got all 24. Lisa, Jen, Matt, all at 21. Deborah's at the upper end of that with 23. Who got
Yeah.
the least? Like, honestly, got the least.
19, Felipe.
Is 19 the least so far? So we're all kind of in the same space. Not my space for me.
When
but-
the library says, how old are you? I'm going to say, I'm 21 out of 24 things on this list. Oh,
we got
18 from
two
Megan.
18s.
All these young chickens. Oh, yeah, it's a good one, Claire. I wonder what Rain would get.
Oh, yeah.
Where's Rain?
I don't know. What did we win? You won, I don't know, a AARP membership.
Great question from Michael. He said, is printing a map quest considered using a paper map?
Oh, yeah.
I wondered that because I don't think that's what this list was going for.
Yeah.
But I would consider it.
But that was mostly directions written on paper that is different than a paper map. Right? Like, because if you you could print out whatever you wanted, but it wasn't giving you an expansive map of your area. If anything, it had a little picture that took you from point A to point B, but you couldn't like actually read it.
You never used like a paper map
To navigate somewhere?
like to go to Canada with your
No.
family? How'd you get there?
You just take one road, you go straight up.
And what do you do across the border? How do you know where to turn
You
on the
had
streets?
MapQuest directions
In
originally.
the 90s?
Or at that point, you got to remember, like, that was just a trip my family did for like 30
Okay,
years. So everyone just knew where to go.
My parents, before MapQuest, would call AAA. And you would say, this is where I live.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where I'm going. How do I get there?
Yeah.
My grandparents had paper maps in their car.
Which I feel like everyone still should have like some sort of
Because when it all goes to hell, how are we getting
paper
anywhere?
map. But, and if you're on interstates, it's
And we've
pretty
talked
easy.
about this before. I'm better at reading maps than you are.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. Whatever you say.
Oh, Fred, we were looking for you.
What were we looking
Claire
for?
said, where's Fred? I want to see what he would get on this list.
Oh, I'll put the list on the screen. Fred can tell us.
It's 1 point for everything that you've done.
So I was thinking, when you mentioned MapQuest, it brought up another KTU thing I used to have to do. And when I first got my job with KTU, it was part of the street team. And you would, if you were doing an event, you'd show up to the studio. You'd have a bin that had all of your stuff, like your tablecloths, your giveaways, all the smaller stuff would go in a bin. And it also had your event sheet and your directions. Because at the time, even though we had GPS on our phones, it was expensive. And not everyone had a smartphone.
Right.
Like, and not everyone had the unlimited
Like, you had to
plan.
have, like, some crazy data plan to be able to
So,
use the GPS.
It was someone's job to make the event sheet and then print out the MapQuest directions, which ended up being a job for a very long time. I think they still do that because the company can't expect you to use navigation if you don't have like the right data plan or something like that. And I think this is when I started becoming like super anal about being organized, because there were a handful of times where people would get their event sheets and all it took was mismanaging one piece of paper, putting the wrong event sheet on the wrong directions.
And you're going to the wrong place.
Exactly. You could end up in Coney Island when you thought you were going to Jones Beach, and now you're screwed. Right?
That's crazy.
And I think that's where my attention to detail when setting up things like that really started, because I was so nervous about sending someone to the wrong place, because now you're screwing up two events.
Okay, so when did you lose that fear? When you started sending Elvis and people to the wrong place? When you became worst assistant in the world?
Yeah, I just don't think I cared very much. Also, there wasn't a lot of like direction working with Elvis at the time. He would kind of just make things up.
Also now you're victim blaming here.
No. Well, first off, I know he says it all the time. I never sent Elvis to Portland, Maine instead of Portland, Oregon. I don't think Elvis has ever been to Portland, Oregon to begin with, but
or Maine.
There were times. So one of the reasons, and it actually, after the first like year of getting screwed over like this a bunch of times, there is someone I need to blame. And I learned from it, but it's American Express. So what you have to remember is a lot of times when I was booking stuff for Elvis, I was booking it through his American Express like concierge thing. And you would talk to the person on the phone, give them all the details, they'd give you some of the options, iron it all out, and they say, okay, well, here is the flight, here's the car, blah, blah, blah. And you approve all of it. And they would say on the phone all the time, okay, can we go ahead and confirm this? And I would say, yes, I am confirming the reservation. Okay, that should be the end of it.
Yeah.
Then they would send an email with the itinerary. And at the very bottom of 3 pages of like legal nonsense they had to add to it, every now and then they wouldn't actually confirm it on the phone. They would then say like, call back to confirm. But it was all the way on the bottom.
You were never getting there.
I was never getting there. No. So that a lot of the biggest issues that I had in terms of messing up reservations specifically, there's other stuff I messed up, but reservations specifically, a lot of it stemmed from that.
You booked Danielle's flight with her maiden name.
Do that I did
maiden
that.
Name,
not
her.
Not on purpose, but I did do that.
She had to go to the airport with like her jock card with her name and face.
I had no idea what her married name was.
That's funny. I didn't know that you didn't know.
That's the other thing.
That was her email address. She never used Danielle at Elvis. Her email address was her maiden.
How often do you think I was emailing?
And it's Danielle and her last name 2008 at Yahoo.
How often do you think I was emailing Danielle to actually realize that? It wasn't a real like professional work environment. You just saw people walking by and you'd yell whatever you had to yell at them, and then you do it.
Danielle didn't use a digital calendar until last week, so she used paper forever. Sam still uses a paper calendar. I'm like, Sam, I'm gonna be home this day. What do you have to do? She's like, I'll let you know when I get home today. I have to check my calendar.
I feel like she would. Why doesn't she just carry it with her? It's not like a.
It depends where she is.
Is it like a spiral notebook, or is it like a big on the wall calendar?
Notebook. Michael said we live for worst Anthony lore. Fred the mailman checked off every item on that list.
There you go. You know what else I did as worst assistant? And this one was fully on me. The way that the office was set up originally when I became Elvis's assistant was there was nowhere for me to really sit. And Elvis very rarely sat at his own desk. So I would sit at Elvis's desk because he would come in at like 5:30 in the morning, print out the stuff he needed to print out. He'd sit at his desk until the show started. Mm-hmm. And then that was it.
His little notes.
Then I would come in usually at like anywhere from 6:30 to 9 o'clock because I never really had a time that I had to be there. And I would sit at his desk and I would get the rest of the day done. And he would come in after the show. He'd literally sit across from me at his own desk. Mm-hmm. And he'd give me a couple things I needed to get done, and then he'd go home because he used to live really far away, too. So one day, I think it was TJ, was working on a couple surprises for Elvis's birthday. So I forgot what the show was called at the time, but it was a Baltimore cupcake or cake bake shop. Ace of Cakes? Was that a show? Cakes.
I think so. It's a place.
So, okay, they may have had a show.
Maybe.
And someone was trying to get a cake from there for Elvis's birthday. And I just had a note in my list of notes. And the very bottom thing said whatever the show was. And I left it on the desk when I went home for the day. And Elvis came back the next day and he took it into the studio. And he said, hey, have you guys been planning my birthday?
Was I there?
You may have still been an intern at the time. So you may not have been there every day.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. That was fully on me.
I do remember.
Zero excuse. I'm just an idiot. That was fully on me.
I do remember when it was, I think, so I got hired full-time in April of 2010, full-time. And then your birthday was June 23rd, so 2 months later.
Yep.
And I barely knew you. And I remember the show was over one day because sometimes you would come in after the show.
The latest I'd get there normally was like 9 o'clock.
It wasn't over. Elvis came walking out at like 9.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, I just realized it's Anthony's birthday. Can you just call him and tell him not to come in? You know, like I'm going to leave soon. It's his birthday. I said, okay. So I don't even know if I had your number.
I think you called from the studio.
I think I called from, I had to be like, what's Anthony's number? 908, blah, blah, blah. And I call him like, hey, it's Carla Marie. Elvis said to tell you not to come in because it's your birthday. And you said, I just got off the path. I'm almost there. I'll see you in a bit.
Yeah. Yep. I think the cool thing...
I don't know why. Like, why do I remember that?
I don't know.
I remember it so vividly.
I remember it too. I remember getting out of the PATH station. It was hot because it was the end of June. And I had already just traveled, an hour and 20 minutes by train, by 2 trains.
It was a canon event.
But what the interesting thing, and I actually loved this about my time with Elvis, specifically as his assistant. He didn't really know why he was hiring an assistant. He just had enough people of his stature tell him, hey, you shouldn't be doing, like, you need an assistant to help you organize some stuff. And to just take some stuff off your plate. Like, why are you making all these reservations? Hire an assistant. Mm-hmm. So I was suggested by the guy who's now the president of programming for iHeartRadio, because I interviewed to be his assistant. He said, you know what? I already have someone, but I think it'd be great for Elvis. I'm going to suggest you. I said, great. But the cool thing was Elvis didn't really know why he had an assistant and what responsibilities to give to me.
You had to build it.
So it took a while there were days where I'd come in and have literally nothing to do.
I mean, same. When I first got hired, I would answer the phones and be like, now what, guys?
And I would be there. I'd get there, let's say 7:30, right? If that's when the train got me there that day. I'd sit there during the show at his desk. I'd be on Facebook Messenger or whatever I was doing to waste time.
Talking to all the girls, probably.
Yes. And then he'd come in at like 9:50 when the show was over. And he'd go, you can go home. I'm going home too. And I would just take the train back to Ridgewood, New Jersey, because I was living with my parents. And it built from that. It built from
Yeah.
literally doing
We were
nothing.
there, and then we'd be there till 5 p.m.
And then there were days that he'd have a random job or random stuff that I had to help with, or I'd go to his house or go to his apartment, or whatever, because I was a personal assistant.
Actually, Elvis doesn't have an assistant anymore. Andrew is no
Correct.
longer Elvis's assistant. He's
Yeah.
kind of like a show organizational manager.
He'd be he oversees their podcast network and he oversees show operations, but I think mostly it's on the podcasting side of what they do now.
He's a big dummy.
When it comes to show operations, that normally has to fall on someone like Nate, depending on and then if it's like a programming thing that needs to be done, that goes to either Scary or Scotty, depending on whether it's local or the network. And then those responsibilities all trickle down to other people. Trickles down to Diamond and Garrett and Sam.
My job list went from like, my responsibilities went from being this to this to this. Like, it was like, it was just ebbs and flow constantly as the show would change, as different people would come in, as we would get better systems and how we would all like work together, because you couldn't just replace me with Yuritsa. It had to be how she worked in that environment, and that you create different systems. It's not, I mean, it's like any job really, but
Yuritsa's
such
job,
a creative atmosphere that it's what works best for you.
Diamond's job, your job, Yuritsa's job, Lauren's job, they were all similar, but they were done differently by every person.
Stick, Garrett, Lauren, me, Yuritsa, Diamond.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Some good people on that list.
Yeah.
I don't really know Stick. I heard he's a nice guy.
Stick, we've interacted a bit. He's a teacher in New Jersey.
Oh, that's right. But I think that's one of the things that has made Elvis's show so successful is the people that he has surrounded himself with are flexible. Mm-hmm. And you have to understand that going into a job like that one, where not everything is, you don't get to come to work and do the same thing every day.
No.
If that's how you're built, that's not the job for you. But I loved it. I loved the fact that every day was different.
Yeah. It was, and there was a lot, like, it went from I would just answer the phones during the show to I was answering the phones, keeping a log of everything we did, taking caller information. Then after the show, I would be every single, like, I would have to keep track of a list of things that were mentioned on the show that I would then need to pull clips of after. So it could be everything from, he mentioned a client, like like Belvita breakfast biscuits. We have to pull all of those clips every time we mention them and send it to them. Also, he mentioned them randomly when it wasn't an actual commercial time. So get that clip. Oh, Elvis randomly mentioned Coca-Cola. They're not a client, but can you get that clip? Figure out which salesperson is the best person to send it to. They're going to pitch it to Coca-Cola. Like, there's so many different things. Or, but can you get this game because we want to try to get a client for it and sales needs it? Like,
I want to read out
different.
Joanna_DJ's comment. She said, I still listen to Elvis' show every morning, as you should, and it makes me wish I would have worked in radio.
But she works in TV production.
And I know TV production isn't an easy industry either. As someone who has worked in radio, in different facets of radio, in different shows, in different cities, be thankful that you do not work in radio.
Well, Elvis' show is different.
Elvis' show is very different.
In radio in general and Elvis' show are two completely different things.
And I get, the industry probably was more similar to what Elvis' show is at some point. Yeah. It is not that now. Elvis' show is still a diamond in the rough, and not even just because of what they do on the air. The culture of that show
still different.
It is the pinnacle, best example of teamwork in radio, and there isn't a second, right? There isn't a close second. Someone's in second, and they're miles and miles away from what Elvis' show is.
Yeah.
The culture, the resources, the energy, it's just not there in the industry. And I know that local TV is going through the same thing. Mm-hmm. So TV in general is going through the same thing. I feel like every week they're firing someone at ESPN.
Okay, time out though. Joanna and Mello both work in TV. What do you do? Are you looking for hosts?
Let's do the Carla and Anthony job fair right now. Everyone tell us what you do in the chat.
Yeah. Anthony and I have done several phone taps. We've even done phone taps together.
I saw someone write either Elvis Duran or Jubal. No in between,
Nick,
really.
I am gonna.
I don't understand
block you from. Oh, I know.
Oh, like or the Elvis is one end of the spectrum, Jubal's
Okay.
the other end.
I
That
thought
makes
you were
sense.
saying he was second.
Yeah. No. There's a lot between those two.
Yeah. Literally everyone.
But
Literally everyone.
and here's I've never worked for I've never worked for the other person, so I don't know what it's like. I've heard not great things, but I don't know him. I've never worked with him, so that's all I can say about that.
Okay, I get it.
I have heard the show, and if that's what you're equating, then absolutely. They couldn't be further apart in content.
Everyone's putting their jobs. Okay. Joanna does production account manager in TV. She creates commercials for local businesses.
Oh, cool.
What about local small little podcasts? Can we get some commercials? If you got some open inventory, let us know. Jen is a data analyst, IT support, social media, and baking.
Well, yeah, we know that she bakes.
That's a lot. I mean, Biceps, I get it. Does cybersecurity systems.
That's cool.
As an engineer. Felipe is a quality engineer. Deborah is a system liaison for a financial company. Been there 31 years.
This is one of the reasons I don't know if I can get back into like the corporate world. I don't know what any of these jobs mean.
No, but when you go through LinkedIn, I'm like, is there a translator for LinkedIn? Because we're all just trying to be cool.
The lingo translator?
No, I think we need everyone to give us your job title and then the For Dummies version of it.
Bree from Philly said she's an executive assistant at a casino. Which casino? Can you tell us?
Mello says he works in master control. Our business is going through crazy stuff right now. A company CEO recently fired. Ooh.
Yeah.
Drama.
I mean, TV and radio are both going through a lot of shakeups.
DD works for the government.
Ooh, can you like not tell us what you do because you're so high up in the government? Are you the president?
Yeah, but if I'm a page at the Seattle Library, I'll also work for the government. Salesforce. This is admissions coordinator, Hunter College. I feel like we need that.
All right. We got some cool stuff in here. I wish we
Kindergarten teacher.
I wish we had the resources to kind of create like a combination of a community directory and like a search engine, right? So you would have like, it would just be our Carla and Anthony community, our EMHs, and then you could create a profile in there. And then if it said like, hey, let's say you, Carla Marie, were a headhunter at some company.
Yeah.
You could go into our community base and say, I'm looking for someone that does this. And you type it in, and then like 17 profiles. Yeah. But not even for that. Say, hey, I want to sell a couch to someone in Oregon. And you can be like, oh, these people are all in Oregon. Let's see if they want a couch.
Well, we have our Discord.
Yeah, but I want like a cool database.
Okay.
Where I can say enhance.
Well, Nicole, who I work with at Seahawks, went to school for coding.
Can she code a whole database for us?
I don't know, maybe.
Isn't that what ChatGPT does now? Just makes a bunch of people useless and gives us code? Something like that.
I got nothing for you.
Corporate strategy for a nonprofit. I support volunteers. That seems like a cool thing to do.
Joanna said you should travel and host networking events. Back when I did Side Hustlers, I wanted to do an event like that. And my title was Bossy Pants.
Can I get the clicker, please?
A teacher coach? Like you coach teachers?
Or they're a teacher and a coach, like at a school. That would make some sense.
Or you teach coaches.
That's true. Scotty said we could do a Google sheet. That would make sense. All right, let's see what else we have on the list. Are you an old geezer? That was the last thing I had on my list, Carla Marie.
I coach and help teachers with curriculum and assessments.
That's pretty cool.
Can I ask you a serious question? Are you concerned about AI and how teachers can now use AI for their lesson plans? Because I have a friend who it's their first year in teaching, and they had like a 3-day seminar on how to use AI to do their lesson plans. And I said to that person, but here's my concern with that, is that now when it comes time for you to say, I work so hard, I do this, I need a raise, the school's going to be like, what are you talking about? ChatGPT did all your lesson plans.
Yeah, but the lesson plan is part of the job, but dealing with the students and actually conveying that information to them and making sure they retain it is the essence of the job.
I'm aware of that.
So I think they'd still be doing a lot of work. I think there are uses for AI, right? It's not all evil. And there are things that it could help with and streamline.
That's a great point. Allison, who coaches teachers,
Mm-hmm.
said I have friends who use AI for lesson plans, but they use it as an aid and make their own activities as more of a format.
Yeah, it helps you format what you're going to do and sometimes puts your words in better places than you would have done on your own. Let's see. I'm pretty sure detailed lessons plans are for admins, non-teachers/students.
I don't know what that means.
I don't really either. I just read it.
I'd like to be a substitute teacher for like 5th graders.
Why?
Because
The teachers get the least respect?
5th grade?
Substitutes in general.
Oh.
Think about it. Every time a substitute teacher came in,
mean ones sometimes.
they would get hell though. Because everyone understood you weren't doing anything that needed to be remembered the next day.
I would be like, I will give you all $100 if you respect me today.
And then you'd be broke.
I'd give Monopoly money and say, idiots. And that'd be my last day. I'd throw Monopoly money at them.
Lenny said you don't want 5th grade. Yeah. I actually, and I know
I think
that.
I'd like kindergarten.
Oof, no.
Deborah's a kindergarten teacher.
Some people are built for it. I'm not. That's too much noise.
Sorry, it wasn't Deborah. It was Dee Souter, and she said, no, don't do it.
Yeah. That sounds like torture.
I would love to spend
20 kindergartners?
I would love to spend an hour with them just to hear what they have to say.
I would not at all. I've never seen a kindergartner and thought, I really want to know what's on that thing's mind. They're adorable, don't get me wrong.
So what, my nephew Michael he'll be 4 in November. He misses the cutoff, just like your brother, Michael. Mm-hmm. So he'll be living life just like him.
Yeah.
So he's got to do 1 more year of preschool.
Okay.
Instead of going to pre-K.
Yeah.
And he's like...
Isn't all preschool pre-K?
I guess, but like
theoretically,
a school's like an official pre-K. So he's still going to school that my niece has to pay for, which sucks, which you don't realize. Because when your kid is born in a certain time, that's an extra year of school you're paying for if you're sending them to like a daycare type school.
Yeah, not getting the public education.
He watches so many YouTube videos and he watches like hauls of toys and food, whatever. So now when they go food shopping, he does a haul with my niece. He's almost 4. So I'll send them like my Trader Joe's haul and he just watches them. But when I'm FaceTiming them, my favorite thing most recently that he did, I was showing him all the cats and he'd be like, oh, what's that one's name? To my niece Alyssa, because he can't remember their names. And I show him Erica and he goes, that's a beautiful cat. I was like, I want to spend more time with kids like this.
It is funny when kids put like words and phrases you don't expect them to use. Yeah. And they put them together.
That's such a beautiful cat.
If I was to be a substitute teacher or a teacher, and I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not, because high schoolers can also be like miserable shits, but I would want to be a high school teacher. Mainly because I know...
Freshman?
Any grade.
Because then you can like scare them a little bit.
No, I wouldn't want to. That's not my goal. I'm not trying to terrorize children, unlike you. I know that there's probably like a lot of very difficult teenagers that you'd have to work with. Mm-hmm. And some will just write you off and not listen to a thing you say. But I also know that that's where you can actually find like a receptive student as well. Mm. And I feel like you can see the change that you would make in that person's life, or see the information, at least maybe not changing their lives, but see the information being grasped better. Yeah. I don't know if that...
I can see that.
I don't know if that happens before high school. I'm sure there's
a little bit
benefits to every single grade and the downfall to every single grade.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that we forget how rightfully so, how ignorant, not like in a bad way, how like ignorance is bliss. Like how much they do not understand the real world. And we're not, as teachers, we haven't been around, as non-teachers, we haven't been around that. And I think going to something like that now, I'd be like, y'all are idiots. I'm out of here.
Let's see. Lenny said, if you can't command a room, high school is not it. Yeah, I can see that getting out of hand really easily.
Give me a microphone. I can do it.
You can do every class with a microphone. Yeah. You should get one of that, like a Britney Spears headset.
I'm just going to TED Talk it every day.
So here's my question to you, Carla Marie. Is there a teacher that you had that you can say like changed the way you did school? Not like had the biggest impact or your favorite even. Is there a teacher that you had that changed the way that you went about schooling?
Yes. I still think it's my favorite teacher.
Okay.
Mrs. Hughes, who I've talked about a billion times on here. You finally got to meet her this year. because, and I say this all the time, but she scared the shit out of me in the beginning of school. Like, because she was, what didn't come in like, all right, guys, we're going to have fun. It was very much like, this is your work. You're going to get it done and blah, blah, whatever. And she didn't take crap. But by the end of the year, and I was like, did you do this to us on purpose? Like then it was, you kind of earned her respect in a way of like, you could not be friends with her, but it was a different atmosphere, but you respected her because of, she was very much in a teacher role. And I think it scared the hell out of me when it came to like, okay, I got to do my work because this is serious. It's English. I'm not going to fail English.
Yeah.
And the way she taught it, right? It wasn't just like grammar or the way we learned things, the way we learned to write. We had to write about things we cared about, which I think was important. It wasn't, you weren't stuck doing papers on random things. It was, you got to pick. And if it's something you truly believed in, you got to write about it, but you had to cite your sources. Like my whole thing was, I wrote a whole thesis paper on why cheerleading was a sport, but I had to get sources that were not the internet back then. And I had to read things and fully cite it. And it made you do the work for things you cared about.
That's fair.
Because really, you shouldn't have to do work for things you don't care about. That's just my opinion.
Well, that's just not how the world works, though.
It is in school.
But I think you need to learn how to put effort into things that you might not be passionate about, but still need to get done. Right? That's work. No matter what you do for a living, as much as you love that thing, there are going to be parts of that you aren't passionate about. And you still need to learn the practice of getting those things done properly.
Yeah, so I would just be a teacher like her. I would be like, can I just have your lesson plans? Thanks.
No, I think I had two teachers. They were both English teachers.
You got in trouble all the time, so.
All the time. But I had two English teachers. They were back-to-back years. It was junior year and senior year. It was Mr. Levy, I believe, was junior year. And Mr. E, I forgot what his actual full name was, but it was like one of those names that's kind of difficult to pronounce, so he just went by Mr. E. And I'm using those two because there were also two that impacted me that weren't coaches. So I had some that were like my coach and my teacher, but I think they impacted me more because they were my coach, and I listened to them because of that. But Mr. Levy, he was the teacher we had at junior year. We had to go read like To Kill a Mockingbird, one of the classic books.
Oh, that's hilarious. It sounds like you're saying mystery.
No, Mr. Space E. So
okay, To Kill a Mockingbird.
So he had us go through like the classic novel, but what he did, what I thought was really cool, is the first teacher I had that did this was, it wasn't just reading the book and answering questions about, oh, what did this main character do and what did that person do, and write about it. Everything we read in class together. So there was never an assigned reading it for homework, which was great because I was never going to do it. And he would help us break down subjects that weren't directly talked about in the book, but like the time and place of when the book was written. And he gave us the reasons they were using certain phrases and stuff in that book and what they meant on a larger scale. And it was cool because some of those topics were somewhat sexual.
Yeah.
But he treated us like adults and dove into the reason why we were reading things and if we really understood things. And that helped me a lot. And then Mr. E was my senior year. And again, I think part of it was they didn't really assign a lot of homework.
It's not answering this question properly.
No, but they made sure you understood concepts, not just answering questions on a quiz.
Well, also,
and that changed the way I did all of school.
There's a whole movement now that's like, kids don't need to do homework. Teach them what they need to learn in the 8 hours they are at school.
I used to say that to my mom all the time.
No, there's a whole push for it. I truly think it would. I think 90% of my anxiety when I was a kid in school was homework.
I didn't have homework anxiety because I didn't do it.
And we're in the same spot.
I just didn't do it.
I'm just going to be like, sorry, my kids aren't doing homework.
I understand that there's like readings and stuff that might have to be done at home, but isn't the point of being in the class to learn things?
Yeah.
Right? That would be the argument I would make.
Okay, then at the end of the day or at the next day when kids come back to school, do 20 minutes of where they sit and they do that homework.
Yeah.
Like, It's so weird. Like, it's true. We would go to school for 8 hours and then go home, like Meg just said, and you would do homework for 3 hours. And it's not even that homework should have taken 3 hours, but when your tiny little pea brain just did 8 hours of, like, come on.
Yeah. Well, I guess the argument you could make is early on when you're learning some of the more, like when you're learning the multiplication table or learning like spelling, those are things you do have to kind of drill.
But your parents can still interact. Like, your parents can make that fun. You don't have to have. And maybe, I think doing
then you're asking your parents to now be your teachers as well.
That's true. But they do.
Yeah.
Every parent has like these note card things now that they do.
Yeah, but that also that's like, that starts.
Be home.
Well, it starts making a difference based on your socioeconomic status, right? Because if your parents are working like in a retail job or something, then they don't have the time to give you that other parents might. And now you're creating separation based on the income or the flexibility of the parent schedule based on the work of the kid.
I think homework and worksheets are two different things.
Okay, that's fair. Let's see. My first grader is so exhausted if he has homework. It's like pulling teeth. Yeah.
I mean.
For the mailman said, I rarely did homework. I graduated third in my class. Does that say more about you or less about your class is the question.
Lorraine, Ohio.
Brooks Elementary School. This is from Lenny from Queens. Brooks Elementary School didn't really assign homework. They assigned projects.
I like that.
Yeah.
Also, I would have waited till the night before anyway, so.
Let's see. I know someone who moved her son to homeschooling, and he's usually done with his work by 10 or 11 a.m., and then they go do fun things.
Yeah. So I know someone that does the same thing, and it's the work that they do is like a 2-3, and this is like state sanctioned.
Yeah.
Homeschool, it's 3 hours, and then the fun thing that they go do is off. It's almost like a field trip every day that is tied to that work. Even if it's like digging dirt in the yard and planting a seed, whatever it is, it's tied to what they do.
But again, you have to have parents who can make time to do that.
Yes.
Or what a lot of places are doing, and I don't necessarily love it because I think pulling kids and funds from public schools is bad for the country as a whole and for everyone. I do understand why people do homeschool. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. But what some communities are doing now is if they don't like their public school, they're homeschooling their kids and then they're hiring their own teacher, essentially. So now you're building your own little school.
Yep. I don't hate it.
Like a micro school.
I
don't know if I can't say I hate it. I just wonder at what point public schools collapse entirely.
I don't think you realize how many kids are in these classes now in school.
That's true. Some of them could be overpacked or whatever.
There are so many kids. Yeah. Until, I don't know, this next generation, apparently we killed society and there's no one left, according to...
they killed Applebee's, then they came from public schools.
Apparently there's no kids left. I don't understand what's happening, but I see kids everywhere, so I don't know what the government people are talking about.
We should have stopped them at Applebee's. Those murderous millennials.
Maybe wings shouldn't be boneless. I don't know.
They're not. They don't have to be anymore.
I know. We talked about that here. I presented that topic.
I know. Let's see. What am I reading here in... Scotty said, I think homework is important. You go to college, and if you never had homework, how the hell are you going to know how to do it? That's true. That's true.
But there needs to be, I think, a regulation on homework. Like, because why do some teachers, like, who do they think they are? I told you this, Anthony, this story recently. I could call my dad right now, and I could say to him, Dad, do you remember the homework? All I could say is, do you remember the homework assignment I had to do when I was a kid? And he would literally finish the sentence and say, the fucking train. We had to figure out what time the train was getting to the station. And then we spent hours doing this. I brought it into school the next day, 5th grade.
Was it right or wrong?
I never got the assignment returned to me until this day. He said, this is why I don't, we spent hours. We don't know if it was right. We don't even know if it was graded.
Yeah.
And
just something to do.
I would get to a point where my parents would be like, well, you're not focusing. You're getting up from the table. You're looking at the TV. I'm like, well, then don't put the TV on next to where I'm learning.
Yeah.
But okay, you're not focusing. And I'd say, okay, you do it. And then they could not figure it out. And they were like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they would write a note to my teacher and be like, I couldn't figure this out.
To be fair, if you gave me almost any student's work today, I don't think I'd be able to finish it.
I think we should try.
I would think I'd fail pretty bad.
We have teacher.
When was the last time you did long division? Do kids do long division anymore? I have no idea.
They do things different now. The alphabet's different now. I mean, it's the same letters.
How is the alphabet different?
The song's different. It's not LMNOP.
What is the new song?
I don't know, but it's different.
There's a new
There's a new
alphabet song.
Yeah.
It's not just A, B, C, D, E,
When you
F,
get
G,
to Elemento, they
H, I, J,
separated
K,
them. Which
Elemento
is
P.
true because my sister literally was an idiot and thought Elemento was a word.
Yeah. Lenny said, "Can I send some of Brooke's work and see if?" Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What grade is she in now? 5th? No, younger than that.
No, she's. So this is from 2019, the new alphabet song.
Okay. 6th. Oh my God.
Are we going to jail? Is this going to get dinged?
No, I think we're good.
Let's wait till he gets to Elemento. Oh, is it there?
H, I, J, K.
O P Q.
No. You know what's crazy is my brain just glitched. I didn't know where that was going after that. When he paused, I was like on the edge of my seat, like what's coming next?
O P.
What's he gonna do?
We talked about this on the radio.
I don't
And
remember
we had
that at all.
we had a parent like call in and sing it
Wait, so it
on
goes
our radio here.
A B C D E F G H I J K L
M
N
N O P Q
What
R
comes
S T U V W X Y Z. Wow, I got there, but I made my own song up. I don't know how it finishes.
That is
Hold on. How does it finish? If it makes me watch this stupid ad. Everybody together now.
F G H I J K L M N
O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z.
No, stop that. That's it. That's awful.
We're gonna get our first freaking
Arrest.
DMCA.
Who is that person? Arrest him. Put him in jail forever. I hate it. And if I don't like something, they have to go to
This
jail.
has to be something that we all can agree on both sides of the aisle, right?
Yeah, that's stupid?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Wait, Scotty was losing his mind saying he was shook.
I don't
Elemental
like
P
it.
is God-given right as an American.
Yeah.
My sister, I was telling my sister, I was like, do you know the new alphabet? And I was waiting for her to be like, what is it, woke? And she was like, no, I don't know it yet. What is it?
LGBT.
And I was like, no, ass. No, but she didn't say that. I was like, no, wait, just wait till Adriana starts learning it. Because they split up. I was like, I don't even know how to sing it. They split up LMNO. She's like, well, that makes sense. Because like I literally came home one day and was like, Mom, when do we learn Elemento?
Here's another one similar to Elemento, the one letter that we all first learned. The chocolates that had the candy shell, really small. They've got mascots that are on TV all the time. It's very popular candy, chocolate. Comes in a brown bag. There's a lot of them in the bag.
Candy, chocolate, and milk duds? Raisinets.
Marie. It's got a candy shell so it doesn't melt in your...
M&M's.
Okay.
Thank you, Lisa. You didn't say it's got a candy shell so it doesn't melt. You said candy in shells.
Anyway. How did you say that growing up?
M&M's.
You actually said M and M's.
Yes.
In my mind, for the longest time,
No.
they were MMMs.
What?
MMMs.
That's you're an idiot.
That's just how I said
That's
it.
English
They were-
ESL.
yeah,
English
maybe.
second language. That doesn't mean you're an idiot. I'm not saying that's not. They're two different thoughts.
MMMs. That's just what they were to me.
Mms?
Just MMMs.
Why?
Because I wasn't hearing and.
It literally has an
And-
ampersand.
What child knows what an ampersand is? They were MMMs to me.
I wish if I knew if Michael was a word.
Maybe, is it an immigrant thing, or are we all immigrants that are
No,
thinking
I think they're
MMMs?
just making fun of you.
They were MMMs to me. I would say until like middle school.
I could see MNMs, like the letter N, but not
No.
MMMs.
No, just MMMs. That's what they were to me.
M&Ms. The
Let's
candy
see.
doesn't have. Oh, on the candy, there's just the letter M. Yeah, but then it's just an M. Then this is M. Not
But there's
MM.
multiple M's.
So
That's
they're
why
M's.
it's MMMs. There's a
No,
lot-
then just say they're M's. And I could see M's.
Anyway,
What does it even mean?
Mars
Mars
and what's the other one?
Marshall. Milk and Mars. What the hell does M&M stand for?
Oh my God. I know it too.
Mars.
I watched the whole episode.
Yeah, we watched the Candy That Made Us, America's Candy Company. What? Mars and Muri? I don't remember that.
Murray. Yeah, that's actually pretty. I don't
Maybe
want to.
that's where my name came from. It used to be Carla Muri.
I don't want to butcher the story behind it, but there was something along the lines of the idea for M&Ms was pitched to the Mars company, and they're like, "No, we don't think this is going to be useful." But they still got into the business because the company that ended up making M&Ms needed so much chocolate. The only place to get it, oh no, maybe Hershey's was part of it. Now I'm going to butcher it anyway.
Hershey's was Hershey's M&M at one point?
I don't know. I don't want to go down this road because I'm going to butcher it. But History Channel, Hulu, you can look up Titans of Industry.
Titans of Industry.
There's a food version of that show where it's like a mini series.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about Hershey's, they talk about Mars, they talk about Heinz, which was fascinating. The first 24-hour lit factory
with
electricity.
Like it was lit?
Yeah. Was ketchup. It was Heinz. It's crazy.
So crazy.
Yeah. What?
It's nuts.
And then there was the story, this I do know about M&Ms, is they took off, I want to say, in World War I.
Because they didn't melt in their hands?
Yeah, they didn't melt as easily as other chocolates, so they were able to be sent overseas, and that's like how they kind of took off. So, those shows, by the way, the Titans of Industry or Titans of whatever they do.
Hershey had a 20% ownership stake in Mars. Yeah, because I thought when you go to Hershey Park, M&M's was there as a thing. Yeah, I'd have a picture with the guy. Oh no, do I have a picture with an M&M or do I have a picture with a Hershey bar?
I don't know.
The Mandela effect.
Like a Hershey Kiss?
Oh,
they have those guys dressed up, right?
Yeah. Have you been to Hershey Park?
A long time ago. One time when I was a kid. I don't really remember much of it. I'd go again, though.
The Hershey president was Muri, the second M. Murray?
I don't know. You know, it is time for us to get out of here. We've been on the air or on the internet or whatever.
What are we on?
Through
drugs?
Through the Ethernet cables for almost 2 hours now. And I think it is time for us to get out of here. I will be at PAX at least 1 or 2 days this weekend. If you are going there, hit me up on Instagram at @WorstAnthony.
I might go to the Washington State Fair.
Well, how long does that go for?
A month.
Oh, so we got time.
2 weeks. Well, I want to go this weekend.
It's the wildest weekend to go.
Eat something on a stick, go on a ride,
Those
throw it
stick
up.
foods are available throughout the season.
Well, you got me working nights.
All right. It is time to get out of here. Thank you. Peace out. I got you working.
Wait. What day are we back here? Tuesday night?
Tuesday night.
But the Morning Show podcast is back Tuesday morning.
Yes. Peace
Did
out.
you just lean over to toot? You leaned over like you were tooting.
No, I missed the table. I was just going to fart on screen. Goodbye.